July 24th, Pioneer Days, a holiday that revolves around the Mormon faith. While a lot of people are out attending different festivities, there's also a large group gathered down here today to walk down to Temple Square and hand in their letters of resignation, asking for their names to be taken off the church's records.
Over the past year, I've been asked on occasion, what's the point of this event? And why do I care? My short response is, we care because as a community, and as a state, and as a nation, and even as a global society, we are at a crossroads. Our world is full of suffering and heartache, and is in dire need of real leadership in every aspect of our society. We have a vision that courageous people in positions of authority, regardless of where they come from, have and will continue to come forward and dare to navigate a route to restore the original dreams of our forefathers. Those dreams are that all men and women are equal, and that everyone, and I do mean everyone, has the non-transferable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of life. Sorry, the pursuit of happiness. So, but back to the question. I'm sure everyone has their reasons for being here, but I'd like to go ahead and take a stab at a few. We're here because we value the pursuit of knowledge, not in making apologies and attempting to rewrite history in hopes of keeping the masses subservient. We are here because we believe full disclosure does not mean hiding away historical documents in dark places, but to make them available and open for all. We are here because we think the Constitution and its amendments are critical, including the first, which says religion has no place in the legislative process. We are here because we support the bounds put in place to keep religious beliefs from turning into laws, just like they tried to do with Prop 8. Yep. We are here because we espouse the pursuit of truth, not in the hiding of religious origins and the backgrounds of its leaders. We are here because we vow loyalty and we don't reject and dismiss the words of past leaders who supposedly spoke for God. We are here because we feel fiscal responsibility is served best when investment in humanitarian purposes takes priority over building lavish shopping malls and other business pursuits. We are here because we maintain that accountability is critical, especially for tax-free institutions that are granted a public trust to be engaged in the betterment of society. We're almost there. We are here because we desire the best for our kids and for them to be themselves, not to be pigeonholed or ashamed of their individual personality or their preferences. We are here because we assert that the bonds of family are stronger than disagreements in belief that lead to disownment by family and friends. Yes. We are also here because we confirm that all humankind deserves equal treatment and none should even be denied rights, especially because they were born with a different type of DNA that caused their skin color to be different. We are here because we believe in encouraging and providing the same opportunities for women in the pursuit of life, not in chopping them down and relegating them like quality women like Kate Kelly to second-class status. We are here because we have the audacity to insist that equal marriage rights be given to all who love each other. And most importantly, we are here because we strongly support families of all shapes and sizes, not just a narrowly defined subset. A wise person once said, "It's not who you are underneath, It's what you do that defines you. It's what you do that defines you. I will submit, now is the time to be defined. And now is the time to grab the moment. So I have a few questions for everyone here. Will you stand up and show them that they wield no more power over you? Will you stand up for a better vision and for our children's future? Will you stand up for all families of all types and shapes and sizes? Will you stand with me now? Thank you. I think I felt the spirit.
We're down here getting ready for the mass resignation going on here in Salt Lake City. And you previously resigned in April, so I noticed you got your letter with you.
Yep, I sure do.
What was it like for you when you actually did resign?
It was really a lot different than I expected. People, growing up in the church, they always say that like people who resign are full of anger and all sorts of terrible emotions. And for me, this took like 4 years of really thinking about it, and I was totally at peace with it when I did it. It was the end of my journey, not the beginning of my, hate-filled quest to, I don't know, do whatever they think we do.
So was there any kind of relief you had when you finally got it in and got your letter back from the church?
Yeah, actually there was a huge sense of relief. Like having my name not contribute to something that I fundamentally can't agree with. Like I didn't want my name contributing to that system or being used in that way. And it's also, more than that, it's more of a personal statement. Like I was baptized in a public kind of a public setting, like you do. I was baptized in front of my family, and that was my entrance into the church technically, and my exit from the church was likewise public. I did a peaceful march around, I marched last April with everybody else. I turned in my letter, and I got I got this letter back, and it was just it. That was it. And I'm like, that's great. I can move on.
So you're just down here today in support, you said, of your cousin and all the other people resigning?
Yeah, of anybody, especially, like, I won't tell people what to believe, but if the Mormon religion is making life difficult for you, like if it's toxic, especially if it's toxic for you personally, I think that it is in your best interest to do whatever you think is right, including leaving. And that should be that's something that's very hard to do because you're socialized against it. It's very, everything's on the line. Your social structure's on the line, your friends, your family, the way you live. And so that, if I can be that support for somebody, if that's what the step they need to take, then that's what I want to do. Absolutely.
Do you have any advice for anybody out there right now that's considering leaving the church but wanting to send a letter in and just hasn't done it yet?
I want to say search, ponder, and pray because that's exactly how I ended up here. But any advice? Just I don't know. Just find support if you can in your personal life. Find support, talk it out, and just don't do it I don't know. It's really hard to say because it's so relative to your own personal life, your own where you're at. I can't tell anyone what to do. Just make sure that it's something that you feel comfortable with and not pressured into. And if you need help, if you need advice, there are avenues online. There are places for you to talk about your feelings more now than ever before. You can voice your concerns and hear what other people have to say. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that's good enough.
Well, thank you for talking with us and enjoy the rally?
Will do.
Okay. And you're handing in your resignation letter today.
I am.
What has the process for you been like to get to where you're actually handing it in or taking that step?
It's been many years of soul searching and figuring out things that I have always not agreed with, but figuring out why I didn't agree with those things. And mentally I've been gone for years. I've been out for years, but this is kind of the final step. This has been a year of change and growth for me, so it seemed like the right time.
Has any of the recent going-ons with the Kate Kelly and some of the other controversies in the church, has that kind of pushed you more towards wanting to actually finally send your letter in?
Not really, actually. I really support her. I really support the attempt to change the church within it. I personally couldn't do it because I just don't believe in it anymore. But I commend her for trying. I think she's very smart. I commend the way that she goes about talking about what she believes in and still with conviction in staying where she's at. and not letting people bully her to not believe that. Yeah.
So today for you handing your letter, is this going to be a relief or?
Somewhat. I do want to move on with my life, and I can't in good conscience have my name still on the records where there's just so many things that I disagree with. One of them being just, I think that the church is mainly based on fear to get people to stay in their organization, and I choose to not live my life that way.
If you could give advice to someone else out there right now that might be contemplating the same, wanting to do the same thing but might fear it a little bit, is there any advice you can give to them about just taking that last step?
There are plenty of support groups. There are plenty of people going through the exact same thing that you are. There's so many people that struggle, and also that their families have disowned them, that they've had so many issues like that, and I believe firmly in that family doesn't have to be related to you. I think that there's the post-Mormon groups all around Utah, and there's also just web forums, and any way that you end up feeling comfortable in finding a friend that way, I think that that's a huge support. I've been lucky enough to have some of my family members' support and my boyfriend's support, and I think that's the biggest thing, is to search out that support. You're gonna have to do some work, but it's not magic. Yeah. You have to do some work, and that's the good part of it. It's not just, let's pray about it and hopefully we'll find somebody. If you can go out there and find some people going through the same thing you are, it will be a huge relief.
Well, thank you for talking to us, and I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.
And it came to pass that in the 6th year following the church's involvement in Proposition 8, there arose from within the church outspoken teachers of inclusion, empathy, restoration, like John DeLynn, Kate Kelly, and Rock Waterman, who encouraged the body of believers to remember that all are alike unto God, black and white, bond and free, male and female, homosexual and heterosexual. Indeed, Elder Ronald Pullman, emeritus member of the First Quorum of the 70, recognized this truth when he said in General Conference way back in 1984, quote, "Sometimes traditions, customs, social practices, and personal preferences of individual church members may through repeated or common usage be misconstrued as church procedures or policies. Occasionally such traditions, customs, and practices may even be regarded by some as eternal gospel principles." Continued quoting, "Under such circumstances, those who do not conform to these cultural standards may be mistakenly regarded as unorthodox or unworthy. In fact, the eternal principles of the gospel and the church do accommodate a broad spectrum of individual uniqueness and cultural diversity." Close quote. We as Mormons and former Mormons have been taught to think of ourselves as gods in embryo. We learned in primary to sing, "I am like a star, shining brightly, and Jesus wants me for a sunbeam." If there's one thing we've been consistently taught, it's that we have an eternal light of truth inherent to our nature, and that our job is to let that shine. That's what you're doing here today. You're here to let your light shine. Whether you're an LGBT ally, a feminist, a queer Mormon, or one of those rascally intellectuals, you are here today to shine your light of truth without apology and without shame. One of the most underappreciated lessons from the temple endowment is that at some point, if you're serious about the journey to godhood, you have to leave the garden. You have to leave the familiar. You must depart the safety and the comfort of your garden home and set off into the lone and dreary world. The prospect is terrifying. It's what led Eve to ask from the depth of her soul, "Is there no other way?" And sometimes the answer comes back, There is no other way. But think of it like this. This is your Lehi moment. It's your calling to gather loved ones and family who share your vision and to make this journey together. This is your Lehi moment to set off into the wilderness with hope for a promised land. And when you're in the wilderness, as Mama RuPaul says, you better work. This is your Lehi moment, this feeling of excitement and a possibility. It's the same pioneering spirit that your Mormon forebears felt when they set sail, leaving their motherlands and leaving everything that was known to them, based on the belief that a higher destiny is calling you. Your Mormon heritage gave you a rich pioneering tenacity to tame the wilderness, journey the ocean, and cultivate a new way of life. This is your Lehi moment to make good on that spirit and maybe do the most Mormon-y thing you have ever done, to push away from the shores of the known. Jesus loves you for a sunbeam. You are like a star shining brightly. The light of truth is within you, and no matter what you do, keep it shining, because there is nothing more beautiful than the light that radiates from souls that aren't afraid to shine. So shine on, and make some noise. All right, now we're going to have Mark and Neville end up at the mailbox on the other side, and then have a speech by Brooke Swallow.
So, you just handed in your letter of resignation to the church. How does that make you feel?
Just relieved, I think. And I really like the opportunity to make it count more than just me leaving, with, everyone leaving, and to emphasize, the equality aspect of it, so.
How long has it been since you've just, basically left the church and have been contemplating handing your letter in?
It's actually been about a decade. So about 10 years ago, I stopped attending, and this was enough to get me out. So.
Did you also hand in a letter of resignation today?
Yes, I did.
How do you feel after handing your letter in?
Exhilarated, just absolutely exhilarated.
Are you the same kind of circumstance where you took a long time to decide to actually do it, or?
Yeah, actually, I didn't actually know that my names wouldn't be. I didn't know there were records until about 5 years ago that I was even on the church's radar of some sort. So this is a feeling of freedom. So I'm just agree.
Question for the both of you. If there's anybody else out there right now who's contemplating doing the same thing, contemplating leaving the church, what advice would you have for them?
Oh, advice. I would say do it and then find somebody that has done it before to commiserate with and talk to, because always in the beginning there's that feeling of betrayal and loss, and it's really good to find people who've been there and be able to talk about it, because it really helps to move through that.
I'd say yes, do it as fast as possible, then find a nice good bottle of vodka to just lay it back with. Let's face it, you're going to need some alone time.
All right. Well, thank you too, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.